So today is March 8th, 2024, and welcome to my backyard. This is my homestead that I am working on creating. My house is way over there. It's an old house, very, very old house, but it is a house. I'm grateful. So this is the first video that I'm posting. I have over 20,000 videos and pictures of my journey over the last many years of what it took me to get here. And at some point I will get them edited into videos and post them. For now, I'm just going to start posting videos of today and going forward as I continue to create my homestead using what I have to work with and just doing the best I can with what I have. So I'm just out here walking in the snow and taking a look at the prints to see what is around here. Doesn't look like the bears are up yet. It's only, I think, a high of 30 something, maybe 40 Fahrenheit today. The snow is starting to melt, but it's mostly raccoon prints I'm seeing. And they are massive, like huge raccoons out here, but that's life in the country. So, to give you a bit of a background, I grew up in the city on the border-ish of Detroit. And I was not fortunate enough to have a loving, great family. I by no means had a good family. I was not fortunate enough to have good people in my life. I was not raised by very good people. So I didn't have a good childhood. I wasn't financially well off by any means. I actually grew up very poor and did without a lot. But the money wasn't the problem. It was just having very rotten family. I will just put it that way and leave it at that. So I did not have help. I just didn't have a good start in life. I didn't have a good middle in life, and it was not easy to get here. And I am now at a point where I can share things, and I have the time and I have the means to do so. And so going forward, I will be posting videos of my journey after moving here. And I hope that it inspires and motivates other people to not give up and to keep praying and believing and watch what happens if you stay in faith and don't give up. So, as I said, I grew up just outside of Detroit in a fairly big city. And I was on my own when I was 16. It was very difficult, extremely depressing and discouraging, and just a really rotten, hard life, especially when you don't have help, you don't have family, nothing like that, and you don't have money. So it was not a good time. But on the other hand, it was actually better than being with my so-called family. So I did the best I could to stay in school because I loved school, I enjoyed it, and I'd done very, very well. But when you have to work and work as much as you possibly can so you can afford rent, which is such a ridiculous cost, and on top of that you have to pay bills and you have to just afford to be able to live, food, clothes, transportation, all that stuff. It's very difficult, and many times I wasn't able to continue staying in school. I had to quit, and so I could work and have a place to live. And then I would take night classes, and it was a struggle. And for many years I did without, and that was like year after year after year. So I basically felt stuck, and I never had money to save for a mortgage or anything like that, because here they used to have options where if you have good credit, you could get no down payment. It doesn't work like that anymore. It's now regulated by the government here. So to get a mortgage, you have to have at least 25% down payment, and they have to approve your income, and you have to meet all these requirements, and it is extremely difficult. Plus, the cost of houses are so high. They've skyrocketed so much out here. So it just was never an option. I was never fortunate enough to qualify for a mortgage or a loan or have help from anybody. And so month after month, year after year, I had to work to mostly pay rent. But like 80% of my income went to rent, and the little bit left over just paid phone, internet, buy a little bit of food. And I spent many, many years just wondering why God hated me so much. My prayers were not answered. I felt like I was being ignored, just no help. Every time I would find a house, like $17,000 for a really nice 3-bedroom, full basement house with a nice backyard, I couldn't get help for the life of me. I could not get help to buy a $17,000 house. And there was nothing wrong with it. It's just that it was up north in a small town, and most people don't want to live like that. They want to be in the city. So it's very discouraging. And every time I would find something, no help, no help. And I just get stuck paying rent, again, wasting money month after month. I was willing to move anywhere in the country for the sake of not having to keep wasting money on rent. And I was really having a hard time getting by. It was extremely depressing and discouraging. And then one day, out of nowhere, when I was really at a low spot, I just happened to come across this property, and I showed the one person that was a friend, that was a good friend, the only good friend I would say I had. I've always been friends with a lot of people, tons and tons of people. But when I really thought about it, I wouldn't say they were a friend, because when it comes down to it, I would say it's more accurate to say these are people that I knew, but I wouldn't say they were a good friend. And so when I found this property, as I said, I keep finding really good deals. I showed this person just to so they could get an idea of how frustrating it is for me to find really good deals and just be stuck, because I can't get any help. And I keep passing up all this stuff, and the other people buy it, and then I can't even dream because, oh, that's sold. So I can't even keep hope or anything. Hope is gone. House is sold. So I showed this person, and they just happen to have made a large amount of money in investments and had some money sitting in a bank that they just hadn't reinvested. It was just sitting there, just sitting there. And so this person felt really bad, because they know what my family is like and why I don't talk to them, why it's best for me not to have anything to do with any of them, and how hard my life has been, and how much it's prevented me from having a really good life. You know, when you're wasting so much of your time working just to pay rent, so you're paying somebody else's mortgage. And that's what your life is. Your life is work, pay rent, just to have a house to live in. That's not a good quality of life, and you can't thrive. You can't do anything to work for your future. It's very, very difficult. So this person just out of nowhere did something that I was not expecting. And because to him it was not really that big of a deal. And he was able to help me. So he took $50,000 and sent it to a lawyer and bought this house. So I now am a homeowner after all those years of misery and feeling like God hated me and my prayers are not being answered. I did get help. And I not only did God work out something for me, but he worked out the best option. So all of this time, those homes that I couldn't get any help for and was making me so miserable, it actually worked out better, because not only do I have a home and 13 acres of land, mostly all forested, except for one small section that was cleared, But I have a home that I own. It's in my name, and I don't owe money. So I don't have a monthly payment, I'll put it that way. So whenever I'm able to pay back what was spent on this, I can make those payments, and I can make them whenever I can and for whatever amount that I can, or I can fix this up, sell it, and then buy a piece of land right on the water like I originally wanted and build a small house and pay back the money. So there are options, and I'm open to options, but for now, I'm just going to fix this up the best I can. If somebody wants to buy it and I get a good deal, I may sell it and then just buy land where I want, but build a small house, create my own homestead from scratch, and, you know, just not know that I always have a bill I have to pay. So I think it would be nice to pay the money back, have my own property, and just start from scratch, but put trees in where I want them and the kind of trees I want. But for now, this is my homestead that I am creating, and I am extremely grateful and appreciative. So I happily moved across the country to the ocean. Now, I'm not right on the ocean, but like 5-10 minute drive. So that's like down the road. So I'm close enough. And that was one of my biggest dreams, is to live on the water. Close to the water is fine. I'm happy with that. So welcome to my homestead. Doesn't look very good right now, but that's because of the snow. There's more raccoon tracks, but the snow is melting, and I look forward to what I'm able to do with this. I unfortunately don't have a tractor or farm equipment or a garage or a barn or anything like that, and that's okay. So I'm doing the best I can with what I have. This year, I've now been here 3 years. The first 3 years were really hard, because when you buy a house built in 1912 that has not been maintained very well and needs updated electrical and have plumbing problems and flooding and oh, this leaks, and well, that pipe looks like that burst and because it froze, and you have hot water gushing out of your dishwasher pipe flooding your kitchen. Costs money. So I've done the best I could with what I had, and I'm now at a point where the house is decent enough, and outside I still can't do much of anything with my forest, but I do have some ability to get what I need to build raised beds. So this summer I will be building my raised beds and putting in gardens. I have been dreaming of my gardens for 3 years. I've tried to do the best I could with some 5-gallon buckets, and I got a little here and there, but nothing to preserve or to harvest for the year. So mostly everything has been having to be bought at the grocery store, which I don't like, and I've been looking forward to not having to do that. So this year, I believe I will be able to get enough raised beds built so that I can plant enough. I have seeds that I can plant enough to use during the summer, and also be able to can and ferment and freeze to last all through the winter and the spring and the summer until the next harvest. So these are some of my goals that I'll be taking you along with me to watch. And I really hope that I'm able to help in as many people as possible, keep you motivated, and don't give up. So it's taken me, oh my goodness, like over 15 years of prayers not being answered and living a really miserable, rotten life. And that's the nicest way I can put it. So it was hard and it was not fun, but you know, I kept believing and praying, and it worked out. And so now I get to enjoy trying to create my dream homestead. So I hope you stick with me and watch for videos that I start posting. I'm going to be focusing mostly on just today and going forward, but at some point I will post videos that I make of my past, so the journey to get here. So I've taken videos and pictures from like life in my rentals just for my own personal pictures and videos so that I can look back on things, but I will share quite a bit so you can see that there is hope. And I also documented my journey moving across the country in the winter in a snow blizzard. And also, goodness, wildlife. That was a shocker. So I've never seen a bear in my life. Oh, I have bears in my forest. So there are definitely some wildlife videos that may be posted as well. There's lots of wildlife. There's moose, there's deer, there's bears, foxes. Fortunately, I don't think the coyotes are close to me. I keep praying that they find a really nice home far away. And so many people around here have coyotes everywhere, but I fortunately don't hear them and I don't see them. So there may be some here, they're just quiet, but I have not heard the coyotes. But I do know that there are coyotes around here. And oh, there's mink, weasels, porcupines, skunks, probably a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't know about, haven't seen. There is, what are those? A partridge. I've seen a partridge in here too. So I'm excited to share with you my journey. Actually, my journey moving here and the things that I've learned and things I've learned in the hard way. I've also took videos and pictures of just all the random things that I've done so far. I am from the city. I was not fortunate enough to be raised by people who teach you things that are important. I went to public school, which means I was raised fairly stupid. So I was not taught about wood and trees and building and construction and plumbing. You don't learn much of anything of valuable in public grade school, even high school. So coming out here, I didn't know what kinds of wood there are. What kind of wood do you build this from? I don't know. What kind of wood is a 2x4? I don't know. I had to learn. Well, 2x4s, that's pine wood. You can get 2x4s and other stuff, but in general, if you call the store and you want 2x4s, it's around here at least, you're getting pine. And so there's certain things that you do not build from pine. There's certain things that, you know, you're going to need certain kinds of wood and certain sizes. And so I've had to learn from scratch. I don't even know how to use a drill. And that's on my list. I have one. I just have to learn from YouTube how to use it. So I've taken all the videos and pictures of the neighbor helping me build my deck and build an addition onto my house, and me learning how to put a roof on it. I don't know anything about that. All I know is what shingles are. So I've had to learn how to properly roof a house. And I've taken my pictures and videos. And so for all of those people out there who also do not know how to do basic things, because it's just not how we were raised, I'm hoping that the pictures and videos that I've taken will actually help people. So if you do need to build a roof, or if you are making a chicken coop and you want to put a roof on it and you don't want to have to pay somebody or have to try and find someone, because services, especially out here in the country, don't really exist. It's extremely difficult to find services. Okay, I'm not going to say there's no, because yes, there's a roofing company, but it's like way out of town. And when you have tons and tons of people out in the country in all the different villages and towns, and you have limited amount of people who work in services, even if you have the money to pay them, sometimes they're booked like a year and out. So sometimes you just have to do it yourself, or it doesn't get done. And so hopefully some of the videos I post of things that I've learned along the way with building stuff, I built a woodshed, a greenhouse. I learned how to use Tuftex, which was, well, that was an education because, oh goodness, you gotta be careful with that. So I've learned a lot of things with plumbing. I learned how to fix my washing machine by myself. So if you happen to have a washing machine that doesn't stop water draining, so normally a washing machine will stop when it's filled with water, but sometimes it doesn't. And so if the part on your washing machine that tells the washer stop filling up with water comes off and you notice water all over your floor flooding everything, there are ways that you can fix it yourself without having to call somebody. And I've learned a lot. I've saved tons of money, and I've been able to do things where it actually was fixed properly and I didn't have to worry about problems later on. So stick with me, keep an eye out for videos that I post, and hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and also from the things that I've learned that will help you. So stick with me and watch for canning, fermenting, gardening, building stuff, sawmill. I don't know anything about a sawmill, but my neighbor has one. So if you want to learn how sawmills work, I will be doing a video sometime this summer where the neighbor will bring his sawmill out here and his tractors and teach me how to cut down these cedar trees because they keep falling down. It's actually right here, it's very soft land. There's so many trees in the summer, no sun gets in here, and it's black and it's really soggy and wet and trees fall down. So instead of these very expensive cedar trees just falling down and just laying there, I'm going to try and harvest them into lumber. So if you'd like to learn how the people out in the country just get their own sawmill and cut down their trees and make lumber, I hopefully will be able to show you. I haven't found pine trees, but thankfully I have cedar, and these big cedar trees are going to get cut into lumber, dried out, and this is what I'll be using going forward to build things with, like raised beds and stuff that you need cedar for. So this is my first video, just to give people a background of where I come from, how I got here, very, very, very basic, and what it is that I'm working on posting. And most importantly, I just want to make sure everybody knows that God does not hate you. And if you feel your prayers are not being answered, sometimes they're not being answered. But it's just at that point of time they're not being answered. And I don't want to say that everything will work out great and wonderful, because sometimes it doesn't. But there's usually a good reason for that, even if we don't understand it at the time. You know, looking back, all the times I hated God and I was so mad and I couldn't understand why I was hated so badly. Why is my life so miserable and so rotten? And I just absolutely hated living a life like that, and it wasn't fair. I don't believe I ever did anything, you know, to have to live a life like that and to feel so horrible. But looking back, most of those things that I thought were so horrible and I hated, it actually worked out, because if I would have got my way and I would have got a mortgage and I would have got this, I don't know what my life would have been like, but I know that I would have had a mortgage. And what happens if I couldn't have paid that mortgage? What if something happened and I didn't have the money and then they foreclosed on that house? Even though it was cheap, what if they foreclosed? I don't have family. I can just, I'll just go stay with some family member. No, I don't have that. If I don't have a home, I'm on the street. So I kind of try to think of things like that. So maybe, you know, even though I had to pay rent month after month and it was horrible, maybe it was the best option because it kept me safe. It kept me in a home. But if I would have moved to a different area, maybe something would have happened and I might have had an injury and I couldn't work and I didn't qualify for unemployment insurance or whatever the case may be. Or maybe if I did qualify for something, maybe I wouldn't have received it for several months. And by then my home would have been foreclosed on and I would have been left with nothing. So, or in a homeless shelter. So fortunately, that horrible rotten life in the past, it may have actually been the best thing for me given the options at that time. And so, you know, being able to pack up everything that I worked so hard for and be able to move out here, and with my rescues, and I even took the ones out on the street that I felt so bad for and tried to help. And now they get to live out here in the country and I've had such a great life. And so I was not only able to help myself and better my life, but I was able to better the lives of some very unfortunate animals who were living a miserable life just like me and needed some help. And I was able to give them some love and maybe answer their prayers too. So they got a home and 20 windows in the house. And it's just... And I think they know and they appreciate it, because a lot of homeless animals actually had a home and they get depressed and sad and they live really miserable lives. So I've been able to bless some animals who are so sweet and so loving and just deserve some help. So thank you for watching. And if you would be ever so kind, I would appreciate to subscribe so that I can quickly get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. And that is my goal, to at least have 1,000 subscribers. Then I can apply to be monetized and I can buy stuff too that I need to make more videos, and I can help as many people as possible. Because I know there are a lot of people out there like me who were not taught how to use a drill, how to build anything, or what the names of tools are. Nothing. It's just a whole new life out here, and I've realized how useless public school has been for me. Homeschool was not an option growing up. Nobody was homeschooled, unfortunately. And so now this is what happens when you go to school and you don't learn valuable life skills. They don't teach you canning in school. They don't teach you building. They don't teach you much of anything. So stick with me, like and share, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.